May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free from harm. May all beings love life. May all beings awaken. Welcome to another Cuke Audio podcast. I'm DC Pupa of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, doing our bit to preserve the legacy of Shunryu Suzuki and those whose paths cross his, and anything else that comes to mind. I pray that you and yours are safe and comfortable, free from economic hardship, and able to get out and do whatever it is you want within the limitations of the universal precept of do as little harm as possible. So today we have a guest, one Rob Gove. And Rob came to practice at Sokoji with Suzuki in the early 60s. He was a student at the San Francisco Art Institute, and he was instrumental in getting a number of key Suzuki students from the Art Institute to go over to Sokoji and to practice zazen with Suzuki. I remember him well when I first went to Zen Center. Maybe I say this in the podcast, I can't remember, because these things are going up 3 months or more than 3 months after I record them, because I've done so many in advance, which is nice. It takes some of the pressure off me. Anyway, when I first came to Zen Center in early fall of 1966, I remember Rob as one of the people who set the tone of serious practice. On Saturday, he would take a sort of leadership role in the cleaning in the work period. There was a 30-minute work period, and we'd sweep out front and we'd clean the Zendo floor and stuff. And, he'd show a new person like me how to put some energy into it and do it efficiently, but don't do it Zen slow, do it. And at Tassajara, same thing. We both were down there right away, very soon after it was bought. And I remember him urging me to work more diligently. I remember one time, I'm not good at heights now, maybe he is, but I remember one time we were working in a tree, and I guess I was in the tree and he was on the ground, and I don't like to walk out on branches. And he was going, come on. Get out there. Don't worry. I mean, it wasn't that high up. It was about 10 feet up. And I don't remember what happened, but I lived. Anyway, Rob went on, as he will tell you, to a lifetime of sculpture and ended up in Italy. And anyway, you'll see he's still doing work with marble right there in the heart of marbleized Italy. So without going on any further, let's have our pause to meditate, and then we'll hear from him. So when you hear the bell, hit pause. If you're of such a mind, and meditate or whatever for as long as you wish. And when you're ready to come back, hit unpause, and we'll be here to hit the bell, to end the meditation or whatever, and we'll give Rob Gove a call.
Hello.
Hi, Rob. David Chadwick.
Oh.
How you doing?
Well, hi, Dave.
Hi.
No, I'm doing great, man.
Oh, that's
I
good.
have an expression. That I have three dones. That I have three blessings.
Yeah.
One, for an artist to be in Italy, that's the best.
Yeah.
The second is a sculptor to be in Carrara, that's the best. And my third blessing is I'm surrounded by lovely people. I just like to be here.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, tell me what it's like there. What are you doing?
Well, it's been chill, so I've been in my room. I got a little bit of a desk in my room with a light, and I'm scrubbing away. Yeah, I sent you photographs. You can imagine how much scrubbing it takes to make one of those stuff. That's how I get the big stuff off with sanders and one thing or another. Then I start scrubbing on it.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how fast. And then the shapes sort of come together. You know, you do this area, and it starts to tell you what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I sneak up on it.
Well, I'll have all your pictures on a page that people can look at. So.
Yeah. Incidentally, could I just say? Okay, now I sent a picture of one that's got you see, okay. I call myself a Buddhist, so I use that flame shape behind the Buddha. See?
Yeah.
And then I do different things with it. So then one of them has a spiral on one side, and one of them has a big open space on the other side.
Yeah.
And then you can so they should be displayed together. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if I could take a moment to explain, okay, the one side, I say to myself, well, the flame has a yin yang in the bottom of it. Okay, then then I run my number. I say, well, and here the oneness of the duality. Okay, now here's the one, and it's creating the duality. Okay, but on that first side, well, what I call is it's plain, and so that's the promise energy, and then the other side, you see, there's movement with the spiral, and so this is the side that of the world of forms, life and death. And then another. I found a stone with two colors, and I put the mother and child in the front, and in the back was sort of a green inclusion that it was with this white stone. We call it statuario. It's amazing white stone. I mean, this is why I stayed, because before I was working in plasters. Jesus, I thought, God, look at this stone. I didn't know. My eyes came out of my head. I was traveling with my mother. I had left her. It was an exhausting trip to get down. There was no super highway to get from Genoa down here. It's down the coast toward Pisa. I was going to Pisa the next day. I just wanted to see what was going on. I'm getting off the subject, but anyway.
No, it's fine.
I saw this. So anyway, I parked my. It was cute. You'll love this story. So we got here about 1:32. I was tired, and I looked up here. It said picnic. Okay, Mom, here. This has to be like a delicatessen or something. Anyway, we were eating in there, and I said to this lady something in English. Well, that guy down the counter used to be in America. So he was a soldier captured in North Africa. He'd gone to Arizona where they'd kept him captive. Anyway, he could sing songs from those years, and he spoke good English. Well, and I said, well, where's Henry Moore's studio? Well, I don't know who this Henry Moore is, but all the artists go anyway. I went around the corner after I parked my mother in the hotel. I went in there, And he was showing me this dude saw money coming through the door. Oh man, here's an American. So he was showing me. He's got these giant. This guy, the company, his family had made great, huge statues for the English, for the nobles and what. Anyway, we went in the backyard, and here was a piece of stone they were saving for a guy named Vanji, a wonderful sculptor who worked there. But you could put your arms around it, but it was like 4 foot long, perfectly white. My eyes came out of my head. Fucking hell. And so this guy, okay, the money started kicking in here. Well, why don't you work here? How much does it cost? Oh, nothing costs. Where would I live? He pointed above the back garden. There was a little bit of a room there. Anyway, I got back to the hotel, and this is what I'm telling you this whole story for. I get back to the hotel, and I was going to Pisa the next day, like I say. And my mother saw my excitement, and then she said quietly to me, well, Robert, maybe you should stay here. Isn't that a great story?
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Well, anyway, this is 53 years later.
Wow. Let's see, 53 years later, so 1970. Let's see now. That would be...
I first came here when I was about 29. Yeah, about 29.
And you were born in what year?
Well,
you were born in what year?
37. I'm 85.
85. Wow. And all right, keep going.
Well, so I wanted to tell you. Okay, I was trying to explain that I have a sculpture there that I want another two pictures put together. There's a mother and child, and on the back side there's an egg shape. And here again, where the green is, I put the egg void, which would be the promise energy. And then the reverse side is the mother and child. And I imagine, well, okay, it's got the flame shape, and then it's got the aureola around it, like the Catholic idea of light. It's got the circle and the and the flame, and then I've hollowed it all out. But I have actually there's a third photo that goes with those two. Is that sculpture with the light the morning light coming through it, and it's all yellows and stuff. You can't miss it. I think I sent it to you.
Yeah.
And okay. So,
and you sent good quality photos too. You sent 46 megabytes of photos in 2 emails.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came through.
Well, good. Well, and something else very interesting. And there's one that's the infinity. You remember there's a bigger one?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Well, anyway, it's okay, but there was some guy had parked a huge block of stone. Listen, it came up to above my shoulder, and it was like an asteroid.
Uh-huh.
And anyway, I had sitting in the studio. I have to tell you, this is how I started that. That's what's left with this from this asteroid is all I wanted to say. That thin shape. My sculptures aren't bulbous, so I reduced a huge block. It must have been 2 tons of stone. Really, I'm not exaggerating. With a diamond disc, and then you hit the stuff, and it comes off in chunks, and you do it some more, and you do it some more. And anyway, I'm very proud of that sculpture. It's what we call Bardiglio. Bardiglio is a blue-gray marble, and that's an extremely nice dark color, and it doesn't have lines in it. And so your eye can't stop anywhere. I'll send you better photos of that. And I'd like to, yeah.
All right.
I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, how'd you get involved in sculpture? You were a sculptor when you were at Zen Center, right?
Yes, yes. Well, okay. As Zen students, you'll appreciate my first day at. Okay, I have to throw that art school. No, it's an old. I was a nasty hippie. I'm still not easy to get on with, as you know. So I was completely lost. Walking around in the dark, and I was coming home from. Okay, it's a long story, but anyway, I was coming home in the rain. I lived in the Fillmore.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking up Pine Street, and I looked up. I had started in the art school 3 months before, and my sculpture it fell on me at the full moon. So I looked up at the full moon, and the next full moon, and I still had a lump in my leg. And here was the Zen Center. I had been in there before, but I said, well, I can come in here now. First, I must say that I had discovered sculpture about 3 or 4 months before, and and even there, this friend of mine, we were smoking dope, and somebody said we were doing drawings, and somebody said, "Well, Robert, looks like you got talent. Like go to art school." Well, okay. Didn't cost anything in those times. It was like $35 a semester. It's just something ridiculous. Anyway, take this guy for sculpture. Take this guy for drawing. Okay, I'll do it. So the guy that was sculpture was Manuel Neri, who makes sculptures in plaster. Well, plaster, how hard can it be? I'll work in plaster. Honestly, I picked up some guy's stuff that he'd thrown away from before. And I started working on it with a chopper, and he said, "Hey, man, that's my sculpture." I said, "Well, I'm just using it to start mine." Well, okay. But listen, I'm telling you this because this is what happened. A few days later, he came by. He said, "Man, that's not my sculpture anymore." Honestly, Dave, it was as if I had been run over by a truck. I cannot explain how exciting it was that I had found this ability in sculpture that I had no idea. This is why I was suffering. That I had this capacity that I wasn't using. I didn't even know it was there. Honestly, when I was 26, this is what happened to me. So I worked, and then with that gratification itself, I was looked up at the full moon, and so it was across the street. I walked across the street, and I opened the door. It was like 7:30 or something, and the Roshi was startled. He thought he'd locked the door, and he turned around, and I said, "Well, I'd like to come here." And I go, "Oh yeah, well, come on over." He said, "What?" I asked him what time. He said, "Well, 5:45." Well, 5:45 was the first thing in the. Anyway, I ended up coming back. Katagiri Roshi didn't know what to do. I mean, sit here in the dark there, face the wall. I didn't know. So anyway, I kept coming back and kept coming back. Well, anyway, then this transformation happened. If you don't mind, I'd just like to try to explain. Okay, I made some stuff, but then look, I made a great big hand. I made a big left hand. Only where the thumb was, I put a leg. I don't know why I did that. But then, no. I got it backwards. Look, first I made a foot. Yeah. Imagine if you're up on your toe, like here you got this big ball around the back, and you got your toes. Only this thing. Honestly, it was 4 foot wide. I made this giant foot, and then where the arch. Okay, now you got to follow me. The arch here of your foot became the foreleg, and so where the arch came up, it came to a knee. Do you see? Then, okay, okay, but and then I had this big, powerful thing coming back. Now in the art school, so much of the sculpture, all the guys were making in wood and steel. We were all making these struggles, you see. And here, okay, so I I had this giant foot, so I put the hand in that I explained that had the leg, and then it was okay. Now here, this is California speak, I know, but this is still the way I think. Well, this is the right foot and the left hand. Okay, that's male and female. Okay, but as I was trying to explain, my right foot turned it from the knee. The muscle that's in front of your pectoral muscle. I put the thick muscle that covers the inside there, that shape coming up. I used that as a pectoral muscle, and it became an arm. And oh God. So male and female, and these two entities were changing and changing. Well, okay, I was going to art school all the time, and finally the female sort of cautioned the male part, and it would go down and make inside out fingers on both sides, and then that gesto going all the way down there, it stopped going down so far. Anyway, at a certain point, I said, the hell with this thing anymore. But, God, I had taken a ride on all that stuff. I threw it all away. But then, okay, let me just say this. Okay, now, at the end, when we knew each other, I was working over there. And by this, okay, now, as I explained before, we were all using this struggle. Okay, here I describe mine as male and female, but all the same, it's in the world of forms, let's say. Okay. So I ended up with it. I made a giraffe about 5 meters high. No, 4 meters high. Anyway, I made a giraffe. And it did, but you see, it didn't stitch back in with all that other stuff, and it was looking out over the savannah there, and taking the sun and being still. And this is what I learned sitting with you guys. It was so rich, our experience. I carry it with me all the time. I know I'm not there about it. You guys are always with me. I'm here by myself, really. And okay. Now, when I got here, you'll be interested in. You're interviewing me, but here I'm running my mouth off. Anyway, look, I got over here, and at first, here this stone and that stone. Look at these colors. These stones have come from all over the world. But then I realized that using these colored stones, okay, you see it physically, but there you can't get it past the world of seeing it as a thing, like an ashtray or something. It's still a thing, kind of.
Yeah.
So that's right. That's what. Then I started working in white, so everything has to be in white. And when I find an amazing rock, I try to do something really special with it. And special for me now. Here, look, we got mountains of marble. We all got the same tools, and just as Hiroshi would say, "What is your question?" Oh, okay, that's a fair question. I mean, what is your question? Well, what I appreciate to share with the others is a good way to help describe. So I thought, well, I'll try to describe the invisible. And when I tell people that, I say, well, somebody's got to do it. Anyway, that's what I'm trying. And you saw that yellow one there?
Yeah.
Against the light?
Yeah.
That one's got, there's front and back on that. So you want to get those together too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll
get it all together, and then I'll send it to you, and you can say, no, move this one here and that one there, or whatever. So
I don't care about that. I was just saying, trying to think how to help you organize, just so people would understand the
There's a guy I work with on this, and he's better at positioning images. I'll let him do that. I want to ask you a question. You first came to both the Art Institute and Sokoji in 1963. And what was it like when you? What was your experience like going to Sokoji? How did you happen to get there, and what was it like when you went there?
Well, I told you how I walked across the street. That's how I got there.
Yeah.
And well, I was when I was a youngster, I was called lively in high school. And anyway, if I sat down, my foot would wiggle, and across my leg, the other foot would wiggle. I was like that, and for me to go in there and sit still, that was anyway. I did. I learned to sit still. And God, I say to everybody, God, that's the most important thing I ever did in my life, to learn to sit still.
Yeah.
People, of course, don't understand.
You were a very still sitter. I mean, you were a really good example, and someone listening to this would have no idea that you were a solid Zen student like the marble you work with. When I came,
I tried.
Yeah, I came in '66, and I noticed you right away. You sat very still and very straight, and there was no wiggling going on. And then on Saturdays, when we had the extended schedule and we had the work period, you sort of, I remember you as sort of taking a lead, and you'd show me what to do and how to do it and this and that. Also, I've interviewed 10 zillion people from back then, and a number of them, a handful of them, say they came to Zen Center because they knew you at the Art Institute, San Francisco Art Institute, and you told them about it and urged them to go. And then you got Suzuki Roshi to go there and speak.
Yeah.
So tell me about it.
Yeah.
So you really got turned on.
It was. What?
I said, so you were really turned on to it all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gracious. But Jesus, you know how the Roshi was. He was such a darling personage. Oh, my God. So anyway, yeah, sure. I didn't understand the first thing. I still don't understand. But anyway, I gave it a try. Yeah, no, you and I were on the food brigade there. I was proud of that. That's some of the things I remember.
Huh.
We were walking around barefoot on those ice puddles.
Oh, you talking about at Ta Sahara?
Yeah.
We were down at Ta Sahara. Going down there. Some of the very first people to go there.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And
then you know what happened, and this is the way I remember. Disco. Remember what we had plenty of Indians, and what we needed was a chief. And here comes a carpenter, and he showed us how to chop these beams and do this and that. And it was a carpenter came down.
Yeah.
And well, I was one of the first guys he talked to, and all he wanted was some recommendation in Japan where. He could get where should he look for to find the good old time workman, and then the Russians just kept him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, Richard Baker picked up on Paul right away, Paul Disco, and there are some people that came in there that Dick would just. He could see who they were, and then Suzuki Roshi would see it. And it was like he came in, and it was like he never left. I mean, I'm sure he did, but Yeah, that's a good
Well,
point. We had a lot of Indians, but we needed a
well, we
chief.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was great. Well, what I did, I was the first few days, I was able to give him, what the scale, how to listen to this, and and then he caught on. But I shared some bright moments with him, just as he was starting.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, do you have any specific memories of Suzuki Roshi?
Well, gosh, no. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was wonderful being with you guys. I just, yeah. Well, it's wonderful. Look what you've made for yourself. So it must be great to live in Bali. You chose it because of the people, I guess, huh?
Well, that's very well said, because people tend to think of the scenery and the ocean and the beaches, but the people are great. And that's when you said that's one of your three blessings is the people where you live. That's one of the blessings here. Another is I can work here and really concentrate on work, and that's one of your blessings where you are.
Well, you're still writing more books.
Yeah, I'm working on a book called Tassara Stories, but it's I don't really think of it as the most important thing I'm doing because working on Suzuki Roshi lectures and editing the audio, taking out some of his coughs and stuff, and these podcasts, talking to people like you and getting your story. Hey, where'd you come from?
Well, I was raised in Birmingham, Michigan. My mother was an English. She went to Oberlin, and she used to work in the theater. And anyway, she taught English. And well, anyway, wanted the best for her boys. And she moved next to Cranbrook. In Birmingham, there's a Cranbrook Art Academy, which also is a private school, a very fine public school. My brother's successful at it, but I didn't want to go there, so I went to high school. I hardly read a book before I left high school. I don't know if I had read a book.
Huh.
Anyway, I got into Kenyon and I graduated there.
Huh.
My mother, but she wanted us to be near Cranbrook, but. Anyway, my brother was very successful. He went to Harvard. No, at first he went to Amherst, and then he went to Harvard Law.
Mm-hmm.
Naval Reserve. He was very successful, extremely smart. Well, anyway.
So how did you get to California?
Well, I didn't know what I didn't know who I was, where I was going. I was simply lost, and I just went out to California after I tried to stay home and work at what my father did, and I simply couldn't do it.
What did your father do?
My mother said, well, he was a kind of a salesman, and I never did understand really what he did. He had a good smile, and everybody called him Gigi, and Gil Gove, you see.
Yeah.
And but I didn't know what he did, and what the hell am I? So and then I kicked around in the city for a long time.
Oh, what year did you arrive in San Francisco?
Well, let's see, about when I was about 22, 23, cozy.
Oh, more like 1960, 59, 60.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was wonderful there. That's yeah. God, I had an apartment that cost $35. The top of a building, and I made driftwood mobiles, big pools of driftwood. Oh God, it was amazing. I had this amazing room.
Wow.
Anyway, that's where. Yeah.
And what sort of religious background did you have there in Michigan?
Well, I was in Episcopal
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
church.
Yeah. Did
But
you,
I
when you
didn't.
started sitting at the Zen Center, did you have some sort of calling? I mean, did you have any idea you wanted to meditate, or that you wanted
No,
to?
no, no. No. Well, that was part of the practice. So I did that. No, but I was so fascinated by what the Roshi was saying,
Uh-huh.
and that's. I mean, it was just so refreshing.
Yeah. Huh. All
After
right.
all, when I was growing up, it was like Reagan and everything was flat and gray. There was no fun, and that's what happened in the '60s. That people resented that institution of scale that you had to behave, and so then people started getting tattoos and whatever.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, well, that's what we lived through there in the city.
yeah. Now, at what point did you leave the Zen Center?
I never left.
Well, yeah. I understand. Well, I feel the same way too. But at some point, you went out and did
Oh,
some other.
I came away. Well, I came away to. I left as. My mother wrote to me saying she wanted to go to Europe, and and I was. That's how my summer ended in Tassajara. I went out and I worked as a rigger, the iron worker.
Oh
I made great
yeah.
money, and then we went to. She wanted a car. We went to Sweden, bought a Volvo, and drove around. We were just driving around.
And what
And
year? What year was that? Was that around 19?
oh gosh,
Well, was that
when
you were
I
an iron
when,
worker?
let's
There were a
see.
number of iron workers from our early group: Bob Halpern, Chris Flynn. There were some others. Um,
Yeah, no, they helped me, and I helped along with some of the others.
yeah, and so maybe
Yeah, no, it
around
was great. It was great money,
68,
huh?
68, 69, 70.
Yeah.
You,
Well, I came here in '69, so
oh,
before. That's right. Yeah, I got here in
yeah,
'69. I remember it was the first of the January 1st.
yeah. I remember.
69.
I remember because I sort of went, well, where's Rob? I sort of missed you because you had good energy. You had a lot of energy. You were very
Well,
still when you sat, but when you weren't sitting, you were doing things.
yeah. Well, I like to work with my hands, so.
Yeah, and so you put all that energy into your sculpture, and there's I would imagine in the Page Street building, there's still that wonderful sculpture. What do you call it? That's in the stairwell. Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. They have something in red stone. That I didn't make it. I did make something. I forgot where it got to.
Yeah. Well, it's there in this.
But there's
It was
something
there. It was
a
there.
snail or what?
It was there for decades in the stairwell. I wouldn't be surprised if it's still there. But and then I remember you. Now I wasn't there. You went back to Tassajara not that long ago. Like I mean, maybe 20 years ago, but 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and you did some work
I don't
there.
think I've. No, I haven't. No, Well, I forgot.
Yeah, you
Oh,
did.
that's right. I made the steps. Oh man.
Yeah, you made
You see those
steps.
great steps? Yeah.
What did you make steps to? the Zendo,
Well,
the
you
new
know
Zendo.
What was your question again?
Where did you make the steps? What were they to? The baths or the Zendo or?
No, to the new Zendo.
Yeah, new Zendo. Yeah, yeah.
Emily, I made the front shorter than the front, short, middle, long, and it was extremely good looking. But people fell off at night, they expecting to find a step that was as long as the top step. You know, they fell into the bushes. So anyway. But yeah, let me just say that, you know, when you're coming in and you're going through the gate, up on your right-hand side, there's a creek, a dry creek that goes up.
Yeah.
And poking around, you can see where there's a drill mark in the stone. You see they had made a hotel down in there. Must have been the Italian workers that had worked the sandstone in that area.
Yeah.
And when you and I were there digging that what had been a garden that we were going to put in a foundation for a Zendo, I was digging up these square blocks. And I started saving the blocks. No, you're not supposed to save the blocks. We're trying to fill this back in.
No.
I said, well, these are handmade. Anyway, saved a whole bunch of them. Put them in the wall there down by the bridge to the spring, to the baths.
Yeah.
I fixed the wall down there. Well, anyway, they moved me off that job because I was saving stones and they didn't want me to. So
they were taking stones. Well, the first thing we did was take stones out for the garden up there. I mean, we did that right away in '67. We started doing that for the upper garden. I mean, that's long.
Well,
before.
Yes, but then some of them were buried, and
so it was from the old hotel. It was from the old hotel.
Yeah, right. So I started saving them. I was just saying that they were made from up the creek there.
It was local sandstone. The hotel was built in like 1895 with local sandstone. And when it burned down in 49, Bill Lambert came in with, a bulldozer or whatever and pushed all the stones from the, he toppled the walls from the old hotel and pushed them into the basement, and then they covered them over. So there's still a ton of them there.
Well, I can only dream about finding them.
Yeah. Hey, get some.
I did want to say, listen, do you remember that I had been 7 and 9 days? I was walking in the river all the time.
Yeah.
And I was saving stones. And then I had mentioned, what was that guy, that football guy from Stanford?
Phil Wilson.
Kid.
Philip Wilson.
Well, I said to Phil before Roshi came, I said to Phil, look what I saved for the Roshis. Damn, if I wasn't down the telephone line, somebody had sent me down the telephone line when Roshi was to come. You know how the telephone would be down, and you'd have to find the broken isolator. And anyway, I walked down and come back, and Phil Wilson had given my stone to the Roshi. Oh, well, I didn't tell you. No, I had 120 stones saved, and I showed Phil where they were, and Phil made out like he was giving them to him. But I never said anything about him. Anyway, all those stones over there by his cabin are stones that I picked out for him because his hand was crushed by a stone. That's when his Roshi was asking for help with stones. So I thought, well, he'll like stones. So what are you going to do? You can't give him a toothbrush. What can you give him? Anyway, I'll bring him stones. Big deal. That's what I did my 4 and 9 days. I was toting stones out of the creek.
Oh, wow. That is, you were always, into stones. That's something.
Well, you don't know this. You'll love this. They sent me one of those square things you wear around your neck. God, somebody had made it for me.
A Roxu.
And listen, my Zen name was Stoneheart. Yeah. Well, we learned a lot too.
That's neat. Well, then, is there anything else that we're missing here?
Well, Phil Wilson, whatever did he do? Was he good at something?
He worked when Suzuki Roshi was there. Philip would work with Suzuki with stones, and when Suzuki wasn't there, he was a little hard to manage. And well, that's true. Yeah, but
I know it's true.
If Suzuki was there, he was an angel, and if Suzuki wasn't there, I can't remember. I'm sure he did stonework and did other stuff, but also he might just go lie down.
Well, no, but as in the future, he's not a Zen student. He doesn't come around.
Oh, you mean what's his story? Oh.
Well, yeah, what happened to him?
All right. Well, while Suzuki Roshi was still alive, Phil sort of, he started drinking some, and his behavior got a little weird, and actually he was asked, I think Suzuki Roshi suggested he go do something else for a while. But, he was coming back when Suzuki Roshi was dying. There were some, he got involved with G.U. Kennett later, who started Shasta Abbey, and that was very helpful to him. And he inherited an apartment building in Compton in Los Angeles, which was a gang area. It was a black neighborhood with that there were gangs there, and Philip was a very strong person who'd been a rather highly regarded right guard, offensive guard for the Stanford football team, and he got respect from the gangs. He told them they had to behave themselves. He had old people living in the apartment, and one of them tried, hit him with an iron pipe, and Philip just said, "Hit me again, it'll just make me stronger." And they all got scared of him, and but he got their respect, and he ended up dying there, and he didn't have, he was with JJ, with beautiful, wonderful Southern belle, who taught women's studies at Sonoma State, an authority, J.J. Wilson, authority on Virginia Woolf. And they remained in touch, but Philip was by himself there. He'd come to some of the disciples' meetings we'd have. But when he died, there were no relatives to leave anything to. But a guy in some government office traced down through a lot of effort a daughter that Philip had that the woman he'd been with, when the daughter was born and he was younger, had she was afraid of Philip. I mean, he was so strong and everything, and he was a little crazy, that she told him his daughter had died. So he never knew he had a daughter, and the daughter didn't really know about him, and all of a sudden they get hold of her, the city of Los Angeles, and she's inherited, like a multi-million-dollar estate.
Wow.
And he died,
That's a great story.
but he died, poor and sick with, but he wasn't using the money. I'll tell you another person who died extremely wealthy was Gene Ross, and nobody
Oh,
knew
yeah.
it. Nobody knew it
No.
in
Wow.
Michigan. Yeah, she's very wealthy, and nobody had any idea about that.
No, really. Yeah.
Yeah,
Such a nice person. Yeah.
yeah, really, really. She got quite senile. She had early dementia in her
Oh, dear.
in her 80s.
Yeah.
I guess in and she totally she went to Michigan to help her mother and her aunt, and I traced her down with the help of a private investigator. Found out that she had never told anyone there about that her experiences Zen Center or with Buddhism or anything. They had no idea, and her 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 mother lived to be 105 and her aunt lived to be 110, and she lived old too, but she'd totally lost memory of people and things, toward the end.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
but she was a
Okay.
wonderful person. She didn't like what had become of Zen Center when Suzuki Roshi died, and she,
Oh, yeah.
some of the early people were like that. Uh, and so anyway, uh, yeah,
Well, thank you for that.
yeah. But look, you got anything else to say? You've had some pretty interesting stuff come out of your mouth.
Well, I don't. I don't have anything
Well, it's
special to say.
yeah. You've given a really good picture of your life and your practice, and the thing that really comes through. Here's what I see: is you like you say you don't know what to do. You're sort of just wandering around, and you run into the up to the art institute and to the Zen Center in '63, and both those things give you the what you want to do and the discipline and the concentration, and really got yourself together. And in '69 you were ready to apply it, and the benign forces took you right to where you needed to go over in Europe, and you're very
Yeah.
clearly totally into it right now. I mean, you're really excited about what you're doing. It's terrific. I'm just real pleased.
Well, did you get a message about my stone facade, stone wall? No. Fuck.
I don't know. I can't remember everything I get. I've got a lot on you on
Well,
Cuke.com right
no. It's
now.
the series of photos I sent. There's a pile of stones, and then there's also these two go together too. Then there's one. Then there's these stones arranged like a puzzle.
Yeah.
I want to make a huge wall. I want to make a huge wall for Carrara with those stones.
All right.
Well, I'd like to point that out to you. I wrote see, I'm not very good with this computer. I don't know if I've actually sent stuff or what. So.
Well, yeah, you sent stuff. I've got it. You did a good job of sending it, and I'll be going through it and putting it together, and you can look and see what we've done. I'll have help, and you can add, subtract, do anything you want to. You can send more. You can write things and send them. There's no limit to what you can send.
Well, maybe I should. I can help. Well, I'd like to tell. Actually, it's important. I should tell about myself, actually, shouldn't I? Because
Yeah.
this is an opportunity. Yeah. So I'll try to make something. Try to help with your biography then.
All right. Good. Good. Yeah. Happy to do it. Yeah. And who knows? Maybe we'll get over to Italy to see you. But actually,
wow, that'll be fun. Yeah.
I don't get
There's
out of
great
here.
stuff
I haven't been back to America since 2013, and I don't even want to get in an airplane. And I don't get in cars or anything that much anymore either. It's nice. I mean, I do some, but don't have to much. Like living in America, it's so big, you got to drive everywhere,
Yeah, really.
And then people are shooting at you wherever you go.
Same.
Huh?
Well, yeah, it's the same. It's the same dry cleaner and gas station. It's the same from one end of the state to the other.
Yeah.
Well, but here, I mean, the contrast here with the house I live in is 600 years old, close to the church. But Michelangelo walked in these streets.
Wow. Wow.
He filled up the square next to me with stones that were saved. The whole square was full of stones that he, that was his deposit here for a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great.
Oh, one thing I did want to say that, yes. Okay, now the Roshi would have us say, well, what do you want? And then what to say, and then what to tell about, and then I would think, well, you want to share it, you want to, and then, well, I was asking, I was looking for something that you, like you could see, you could put a name to it. Oh, that's a dog or whatever. But no, I was trying to make a sculpture that doesn't create an idea.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go there. You have to go there with your stomach.
Wow.
Anyway, that's my question. You see, how can I tell about the invisible in the physical form, of course, but it doesn't create a thought process. So you get you out of the front brain anyway.
Wow. That is, I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, unless you have something else to add, I think we could part ways. But look, you just zip me a message. You got more to say, I can call you back.
Oh, okay, guy. Well, good. It was so wonderful to talk to you after all this time.
Or you can write. Yeah.
We're some of the early ones. There's not very many of us left, I'm sure.
Oh, you're really one of the early ones. Not very many. Mike Dixon is still working and producing wonderful art.
Is that right? Yeah.
Richard Baker is still teaching Zen. He's going to be 88 next month. Correction, 87. I don't know. He seemed pretty spunky to me. And in Germany, quite a bit, and some in Colorado. And let's see, J.J. Wilson's doing fine. I'd like to call her back up. Bill Kwong is, he's still the abbot of Sonoma Mountain Zen Center.
Yeah.
You remember Wong, Betty, and the Wong sisters?
No, I don't remember by that name.
They were very early on. I never met them, but one of them is still left and is, a classical musician. I haven't been able to get anything out of her, but nice cards and friendly exchanges. But I can't remember. Can't think of anyone else right now. I will after we hang up.
Well, it's been great to hear your voice, Dave.
Yeah.
Pace bene.
Yeah. Great to hear yours too.
Peace and grace.
Well, okay. Take care.
All right, sir.
All right.
Ciao then.
Yeah. Bye-bye. So thanks a lot, Rob. Really appreciate it. Rob Gove, sculptor par excellence. And you can catch up on him. And at some point, I'll get a transcription of this up on his page on Cuke.com. You can just write Gove, Gove, in the site search box. Or if that doesn't work because it hadn't been there long enough. No, it has. But if that doesn't work, go to people. And then the people drop down and then hit names. And then over 500 names will drop down. But the way to get them, of course, is the way to search a web page is to write Control F on a PC or Command F on a Mac, your keyword, and it'll zip right to it. Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Rob. And, man, I'd love to go to Italy. But I don't know. Italy is the country that I have noticed European friends of mine and people who know Europe well really love to go to Italy. And I guess these days, if you can afford it. Okay. This has been a Cuke Audio Podcast. I'm DC, Poobah of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, coming to you from sleepy Sanur with Doggett Bandita, guest Doggett Boombo, younger son Clay, mate April, Bambina, Isla, and dear lovely Katrinka. Well, April and Isla are quite lovely, too. And Clay's not bad for a guy. And we're all wishing you and yours and all of us a grand awakening.